so much happening in Washington, D.C. that we have a lot to talk about with Senator Elizabeth Warren, who is joining us from our nation's capital right now because she can't go anywhere. She's kind of stuck, but you know, we always love it when you come to us, Senator Warren. So,
I'm Sarah.
Sarah has the first question.
Yeah, this one. Senator, we do have a lot to talk about, but we're going to start on a hard note. We want to ask you about the devastating plane crash last night. We're sending our thoughts, all of us here, and prayers to everybody affected by this disaster. You're in Washington right now. What's the mood like there?
Look, you have hit the number one thing. It's about the families. The sad news that it appears no one survived. And my heart goes out to them, and I think everyone feels that way here. Also, deep gratitude for all of our emergency responders who are out there all through the night, hoping against hope that they would be able to save someone. And we are grateful to them for their work.
Okay, well, Senator, we were talking earlier about Robert Kennedy Jr.'s hearing yesterday, which got very heated at times. A lot of Americans are concerned about him running HHS, and you made it perfectly clear why you think he's dangerously unfit to serve. Let's take a look at the clip.
Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line is the same. Kennedy can kill off access to vaccines and make millions of dollars while he does it. Kids might die, but Robert Kennedy can keep cashing in.
Well, that's one vote he's not getting. Tell us about the takeaway you got from the hearing, Senator.
So here's the part I want to make sure that everybody sees in this. Robert Kennedy has made a lot of money promoting these anti-vax ideas, right, in books and onesies and trips. And he also now owns a piece of the action in lawsuits against the vaccine companies. So somebody sues one of the vaccine companies, gets $10 million in the lawsuit. Robert Kennedy makes a cool $1 million. If he gets to be the head of HHS, he will have the tools in his toolbox to make it more likely that those lawsuits win, that is, that the vaccine manufacturers lose, and that the amount of the payoffs are even bigger. In other words, he will have all of these tools just very quietly with no oversight, because he'll be the guy in charge, to undercut vaccines so that he could make more money in the future and the rest of us could end up literally with no vaccines at all to give to our children.
Oh, my God.
It's just despicable. Senator, ahead of his hearing, his cousin Caroline Kennedy wrote a blistering letter calling him a, quote, predator who's addicted to attention. She accused him of being a hypocrite who launched a crusade against vaccinations for money, as you just mentioned, and attention despite vaccinating his own children. RFK Jr. has yet to respond to her letter, but he has been adamant that he is not an anti-vaxxer. Do you think she was persuasive in her letter, and will Republicans, at least some of them, listen to her warnings and not vote to confirm him?
You know, it's a great question. The evidence just piles higher and higher and higher against him. One of the things that was most remarkable to me sitting in the room yesterday with him was that there would be a quote, you know, you compared vaccines to Nazi death camps. And he was like, no, I didn't. And then the person would say, but I'm reading the transcript, we have the video. And he would just say, no, I didn't say that. It was a capacity just to come in here and treat not just the senators, but to treat the American people like I can say anything I want, anything I need to say to get confirmed, just give me the power, and then I'm going to do what suits me. And that was really scary.
Really scary.
Well, Senator Warren, it's a very busy day on Capitol Hill, and another high-profile hearing that's taking place is Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence. Now, Tulsi Gabbard served our country in uniform, but she's also at times amplified Russian propaganda. She's been, in my opinion, an Assad apologist after she met with him several years ago and failed to call out some of the human rights abuses he took part in. Do you believe she'll be confirmed? Is there any sort of bipartisan concerns about her running our national security apparatus?
Oh, listen, there are plenty of concerns. Most everybody in the Senate understands the threat she poses. And I just want to make sure everyone understands the job she would have here. She would be the #1 person in charge of all of our secrets, right? All of our intelligence, everything we gather from around the world, and every one of our allies around the world who feed us information, which makes our information more valuable. And that's how we make decisions about where to move, where risks are, where our armies need to be, all of that. She would be the person at the top. And there are a lot of folks who just believe the evidence shows she's in Vladimir Putin's pocket. So here's the deal. It's just like with RFK. The Democrats are prepared to say no, 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 and vote that way. The Republicans know the threat that these people pose. They are the ones, just a handful, have to have the backbone to stand up and say no. With RFK, just a few Republicans to say no, and the rest of us can protect our children. With Tulsi Gabbard, just a few Republicans to say no, and our national security will be assured.
Senator Warren, I wanted to ask you a question because what do you think this is all meant to do? Because this is so many poorly qualified people for so many important jobs. What is the message to the American people here? Is this a middle finger to the American public saying, hey, I don't care. These are the people I want, even though I know they're not qualified?
You know, I see this a little differently. I see it as just more of the chaos, flood the zone. I think there is one underlying objective, one thing that Donald Trump and his handful of billionaire buddies want to get done, and that is more tax cuts for the billionaires.
Right.
And the rest is lots of noise. Let's spend, and you know, he don't care. So there's a problem in the vaccine program. Not going to affect Donald Trump, right, personally. So he just moves right along. He creates more chaos. This whole business this week of shutting down these programs like Meals on Wheels and homeless vets and Head Start, so little children, these centers don't know whether or not they can actually open their doors and take their kids in, just creating lots and lots of chaos. Because as long as there's a lot of noise around that, the underlying kind of where everything's moving is make things fall harder on seniors in nursing homes, on homeless vets, on little kids, and pave the way so that the billionaires do even better, get even fancier tax cuts, and have a government that's working for them.